Hey guys, Roll Advantage. I am Dakota, and I'll be guiding you through some meditation and some inner thought as we talk about the monk today on Roll Advantage. So, monks are your typical 70s wah type characters where they're all over the place, very acrobatic, very nimble on their feet, running up walls and on water, all that type of stuff. If you've seen any like kung fu movie, you're dealing with that. So they've got 1d8 hit points, so their hit die is 1d8 at first level. They are not proficient with any armor whatsoever because these guys are light on their feet. They're usually wearing like some kind of robe or something like that. They are proficient with simple weapons and short swords, which count as monk weapons for them, but we'll talk about that later. They've got one type of artisan tools or one type of musical instrument that they're proficient with. Their saving throws are strength and dexterity, and they get to choose from two different skills that are really about strength or dexterity, plus some other stuff like history, insight, religion, that sort of stuff. They get to start off with a few things, so either a short sword or a simple weapon, such as a quarterstaff. They get either a Dungeoneer's pack or an Explorer's pack, and they get 10 darts. So at level 1, they have Unarmored Defense, which is a real big benefit with your armor class. So your armor class then equals 10 plus your dexterity modifier plus your wisdom. This does not stack with the Barbarian's Unarmored Defense, unfortunately. But if you're not wearing the armor, you can use this and bump up to 20 easily while wearing nothing, essentially. Martial arts, you're able to punch stuff really, really well, like blunt. Normally when you punch things in D&D, it is 1 point of bludgeoning damage, but this, it's actually based on a table, and it starts off at 1d4 for your punches and increases as you level up. So while you're wielding a monk weapon, such as a short sword or a quarterstaff, you can use your normal attack action with that weapon, and then as a bonus action, you can punch them at all times, basically. You can also roll a d4 instead of the normal damage that your weapon would give, so once you get to those higher levels, you can use the unarmored strike damage die instead of a quarterstaff. So your quarterstaff would normally be 1d6, so if you're like a 20th level monk, I believe you're doing like 1d12, which is twice as much damage, and you're hitting them as if you're just punching them, which is incredible damage, by the way. You can also use the dexterity modifier instead of strength when you're doing this damage and attacks with your unarmored strikes and your monk weapons. Next, you've also got Kai, or Ki, I don't know how to pronounce it. I keep on getting told different things. I've always pronounced it Kai, but if I'm wrong, just go ahead and yell at me in the comments. I know you will anyway. So basically, it's this inner energy, mystic energy, that flows through you, kind of like chakra or anything like that, chi. So it's this energy that you get back, and you start off with 2 points of it, and whenever you expend any of these resources, this energy, you can recover it during a long or short rest. And some of it requires save DCs, some of it lets you do other attacks and actions, and we'll talk about that here shortly. But you have a spell save DC for this of 8 plus your proficiency modifier, or your proficiency bonus, and your wisdom modifier. So along with that, you know 3 things to use with your Kai. You got Flurry of Blows, so whenever you take the attack action, you can spend 1 of these points to do 2 unarmored strikes as a bonus action. So you just whack them and then hit them right away. You've also got Patient Defense, so you can spend 1 point to do the dodge action as a bonus action. And then also you can do Step of the Wind, which if you use 1 point, you can use the disengage or the dash action as a bonus action on your turn, and your jump distance is doubled for the turn. At level 2, you have Unarmored Movement, and you get to increase your movement different rates of speeds depending on your monk level. So at level 2, your speed now increases by 10 feet. At 9th level, you gain the ability to also move along vertical surfaces and across liquids on the floor without falling during the move or making really any noise or anything like that. So that's one of the benefits of Unarmored Movement. You get a tradition at level 3, and so there's Way of the Shadow, Way of the Open Hand, and Way of the 4 Elements. So Shadow is more like your ninja. Open Palm or Open Hand is your usual monk that's just all kung fu. And then Way of the Four Elements is like the Avatar The Last Airbender. Also at level 3, you can deflect missiles. So you can use your reaction to deflect or catch any type of missile that comes at you, so arrows or darts. So you try to reduce the damage with your reaction by a 1d10 plus your dexterity modifier plus your monk level. So if you reduce the damage all the way down to 0, you can actually catch it and then you can throw it at a person with 1 Kai point, which is actually really, really badass. You also have at level 4, 8, 12, 16, and 19 the ability score improvements. This is the usual baseline for improvement with most classes. It's nowhere near the fighter who gets it like every other level, which is ridiculous. And then also at level 4 you have slow fall. So you can use a reaction when you fall to reduce any falling damage you take equal to 5 times your monk level. So usually for every 10 feet that you fall, you're taking 1d6 damage. So it's pretty incredible, and you don't have any limits on how many times you can use that. At level 5, you have the extra attack. So when you take the attack action on your turn, you can make 2 attacks instead of 1. Also at level 5, you have the Stunning Strike. So whenever you use your Kai points, you can hit them with a melee attack and spend 1 Kai point to stun them, and they have to do a Constitution saving throw or be stunned until the end of your next turn. At level 6, you have Kai Empowered Strikes. So your unarmored strikes count as magical for bypassing resistance to non-magical weapons, which is pretty powerful. At level 7, you have Evasion. So whenever there's a dexterity saving throw that you're required to do, and you're going to take half damage if you succeed, and full damage if you fail. Instead, what this lets you do is if you fail it, you only take half damage, and if you succeed, you take no damage at all. Examples of this is like a Dragon's Breath or a Fireball attack, where it hits a lot of people all at once. At level 7 also, you have Stillness of Mind. So whenever you use your action, you can use your action to end an effect that's mental, so being charmed or frightened. At level 10, you have Purity of Body. This is going to let you be immune to all poisons and diseases. At level 13, you have Tongue of the Sun and Moon, and so you can use your Kai to understand all spoken languages. Also, any creature that understands a language can understand what you're saying also. So if someone is speaking Draconic and you know Common and Underdark, you can still communicate with them even though you both don't share a similar language. You still understand each other. Diamond Soul at level 14 lets you have proficiency with all of your saving throws, which is incredibly powerful. Especially at that point, you're having a proficiency bonus of around 4 or 5. So all of your saving throws then have a plus 4 or 5. That's incredible. Also, whenever you do a saving throw and you fail, you can spend 1 Kai point to re-roll it. At level 15, you have Timeless Body, and your Kai is so strong through your body that you don't really be affected by old age, and you can't be aged magically. But you can still die of old age. So even though you look like you're 20, you could be possibly like 96 and be still kicking around. But you do need to know that you can still die of old age, and you still need food and water. Also at level 18, you have Empty Body, so you can spend 4 points of Kai to turn invisible for 1 minute. Along with that Empty Body, you have resistance to all types of damage except for force, and if you spend 8 points, you can actually cast the Astral Projection spell, which sends you to the astral plane of existence. You'll have the silver cord on your back, and if that is ever severed, your soul is then lost to find your body, and you can't make your way back. It's really cool. You'll need to check out the spell, but if you do cast that spell, you don't need to use any material components, but you can't also take anyone with you. At level 20, you also have Perfect Self, so when you roll for initiative and you have no Kai points remaining, you gain back 4 points. So now we're going to talk about the Now we're going to talk about the traditions. So Way of the Open Hand, like I said, is all about trying to perfect your body very, very monk-like in the 70s, all physical. And so if you're looking at someone who's trying to improve themselves spiritually and physically, this is what you want. So you've got the open hand technique, and so when you use Flurry of Blows, you can either make them be knocked prone, but they have to do a dexterity saving throw. They can do a strength saving throw, and if they fail, you can push them 15 feet away, or they can't take any reactions until the end of your next turn. At level 6, you have Wholeness of Body, and what that lets you do as an action is you can recover hit points equal to 3 times your monk level. At level 11, you have Tranquility, and so whenever you end a long rest, you automatically have the Sanctuary spell casted on you until the end of your next long rest, which of course then gets activated again. The save DC for that is 8 plus your Wisdom modifier plus your proficiency bonus. At level 17, I think this is probably one of the most badass things I've ever seen, is Quivering Palm. So whenever you hit them with an unarmed strike, you can use 3 points to send vibrations that are undetectable through their body, and it lasts for days equal to your monk level. And when you take an action to end it while you're on the same plane of existence, this can pretty much drop them dead instantly. So they do a Constitution saving throw, and if they fail it, they drop to 0 health, 0 total health. They are dying or dead. If they do succeed, they take 10d10 necrotic damage. It's unbelievably scary what this actually is now that I've read it more. You can only have one creature affected by it at a time, though. So the Way of the Shadow is like your ninja trying to be a thief and walk in and out undetected, very sneaky-like. So at level 3, they have Shadow Arts. So you can spend 2 points to cast Darkness, Dark Vision, Pass Without Trace, or Silence without needing any material components. You can also cast the Minor Illusion cantrip if you don't already know it. At level 6, you can actually spend some time to melt into the shadows and pretty much teleport up to 60 feet away into an unoccupied space, as long as you're in dim light or darkness. You also have advantage on the first melee attack that you take before the end of the next turn. At level 11, you've learned to be one with the shadows, with the Cloak of Shadows, actually. And if you're in an area with dim light or darkness, you can use your reaction to become invisible completely. And you stay invisible until you attack or you cast a spell, or if you're in an area with bright light. Level 17, lastly, for the Way of the Shadow is Opportunist. And so if there's a creature within 5 feet of you that gets hit by a melee attack, you can actually do another attack as a reaction with a melee attack. So say you've got the rogue next to you, they're going to get a sneak attack on them, and then if they do that on your turn, you can take a reaction on them and hit them again. You're messing everyone up with this. Lastly, you've got Way of the 4 Elements, and so you've got all these Kai points to do different spell-like abilities, such as casting Fireball, but you have to use your Kai to use that. You have to use your Kai to actually cast a spell. So there are some requirements and some limits for what you can do. So if your monk level is between 5 or 8, the maximum Kai points you can spend on a spell is 3. Between levels 9 and 12, you can max out at 4 Kai points. 13 to 16, you can max it at 5 points, and then 17 through 20, you can use 6 points maximum for a spell. And that's it, guys. I hope we meditated and learned a lot about ourselves and what we can actually become through this video. If you like it, thumbs up, subscribe, and hopefully I'll see you guys next time. Bye.